emotions. What triggers emotions? What brings about certain feelings? We have primary and secondary emotions, and sometimes we fail to establish the real primary emotions when we are triggered or when an incident triggers us. Emotions like anger, disgust, resentment, bitterness. For you to say somebody's angry, what do you perceive? What makes you say somebody's angry? Sometimes when we hear certain things being said about us or said to us, it triggers certain emotions based on how we interpret what we are hearing being said to us or what we are seeing being done to us. And often we interpret emotions based on what we see, on the actions. Certain behavioral actions say to you, CD is angry, CD is sad, CD is upset, CD is bitter. I hope that makes sense. So to start with, there has to be something that triggered that. There has to be a triggering event. What happened? And to help you be able to process your emotions, you need to be able to detail the event that caused you to feel that way. Sometimes it could be you're not getting what you want, what you had hoped to get. You're not getting certain treatment. So there is a need that is not being met in your life, and that can trigger certain emotion. Or when you feel like people are attacking your character, or you may get simply triggered seeing that the holidays are coming up. You may simply be triggered by the fact that you had hoped to get a day off or to apply for leave and it was denied. You were denied the opportunity to go on leave, and that may trigger anger in you. So it's important to identify the trigger. What brought about the emotion, the feeling that you are feeling right now? What brought that on? What is it about the thing that triggered you that brought that emotion? Often is the way we perceive, like I'm saying, the way you perceive the incident and what your thoughts were when you perceived the triggering event that caused you to feel that way. For example, were your thoughts like, I'll never get what I want, I feel I'm not important enough, I feel I'm not valued, I'm not important enough to get what I want? A thought that is triggered by a belief that I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not valuable enough. When we experience secondary emotions, sometimes we feel stuck. You can imagine it's like being on a spider web. In a spider web, being stuck makes it hard to get to the center of the spider web, to a more authentic and primary emotions. Being stuck makes it difficult to get to the core, to the bottom, to the primary emotion. If you are stuck on the anger and you don't process that, you may fail to get to the primary emotion. What is the real emotion under that anger that you are feeling? You can see that secondary emotion of anger, disgust, and resentment may simply be what is caught in the web, if I may use the spider web as an analogy. These type of emotions, anger, disgust, resentment, bitterness, make it difficult to recognize your primary emotions of hurt and fear which are the actual authentic emotions that are driving your behavior. The reason sometimes maybe you become defensive and you become angry, underlying that, the primary emotions could be fear. What are you afraid of? And fear and hurt and feeling undermined will be at the center of that web. It's like the secondary emotion, if I use a different analogy, is what you see on the surface: the anger, the disgust, the resentment. Usually because when you look at the demeanor and the behavioral expression of it, it shows on the face, it shows on the body, it shows on the look, right? It's what you see on the surface, but underneath that lies fear, hurt, feelings of being worthless. And the intersection of the web, if I go back to the web scenario, is the true emotion that is causing you to react in a certain way. And to act, you react and you act, your behavior then manifest in a certain way when emotions arise, when you get triggered. So every time you get angry or having feelings of disgust or resentment, ask yourself, what is underneath this feeling that I'm feeling? And then be looking at yourself and saying, what action am I taking when I'm feeling this way? What am I noticing myself to be doing and saying when I feel triggered, when I feel angry, when I feel disgust, when I feel resentful? And where is this resentment and this anger and this disgust coming from? Once you say, where is this coming from, you're going to be able to dig to the underlying primary emotion. Is it fear? What is it that underneath that you are feeling? And then you can then describe your behavior when you act on these emotions and be able to say, when I feel this way, feeling stuck, what do I do? Some people isolate themselves from everyone. Some people sulk or stonewall. They don't talk to people. They don't talk to their partners. They don't talk to family because they are angry. They become inactive. Others scream and yell and shout, while others behave even more aggressively. They get into fights. They fight. Others do not watch things that they say. They insult. They belittle. I feel hurt, so I'm going to make you feel hurt as well, by belittling you and demeaning you and making you feel worthless. That's the mindset. And of course, nobody can make you feel worthless without your permission. Then you're supposed to be looking at that and saying, what was the results of acting on this emotion in this particular manner? Did it improve the situation or did it worsen my situation? Because then you fail to say, when you are in a situation, how did I contribute? What role did I play in this situation? Because you start noticing people stay away from you because they know you'll go off, you'll blow up the casket, you'll blow up the roof, and then they avoid you. Then you become alone and you start feeling lonely, disconnected, lacking emotional support and even physical support. But all you really wanted was somebody to help you. But then instead of reaching out for help, you find yourself cutting yourself off, cutting yourself from the support system you have. You've bent all the bridges, in other words. And some people even then start adopting self-harm. They hurt themselves, they cut themselves. But even after cutting yourself, hoping to numb that emotional pain, that physical pain you have caused in your arm, in your wrist, did not necessarily address the underlying core problem. So it helps to seek therapy and to be able to get help when you go through situations where you feel overwhelmed and highly triggered. Thank you for listening.